Okay. Okay. Potassium, which is here. Potassium जो है, it is absorbed in the form of, किस फॉर्म में वो absorb होता है? It is absorbed in the form of a monovalent cation, that is potassium ion. The form is K+. This is a monovalent cation. Cation because it is positively charged, and monovalent because जो charge है that is +1 charge. Okay. जो potassium होता है that is required in buds, leaves, root tips. Okay, so it is potassium is also required in growing parts. पोटेशियम का रोल क्या होता है? पोटेशियम प्लेज अ रोल इन, हैज अ रोल इन ओपनिंग एंड क्लोजिंग ऑफ स्टोमेटा. Opening and closing of stomata. It has also a role in protein synthesis. और इसका दूसरा रोल है एनायन कैटायन बैलेंस में. along with chloride ion. Chloride ion के बारे में हमने पहले ही डिस्कस करा था along with potassium. So जो potassium ion है usually K+ ion that is found very commonly in the soil. It's potassium के salts जो होते हैं that are found like KNO3, K2CO3 etc. So इसका रोल जो है opening and closing of stomata में है. So let's draw stomatal sac. Okay, so this is a open stomata, and when the stomata closes, it would be something like this. Okay, so this is an open stomata and a closed. If you can see the difference, तो ये है कि जो stomata के जो guard cells हैं, these are the guard cells and these are the subsidiary cells. Okay, so the guard cells are very distended. Distended होने की वजह से the pore is open, while in this case क्योंकि they are flaccid और loss of water हो गया, there the pore is closed. So इसका role जो है that is purely the role of potassium here, potassium malate theory. Protein synthesis, it has a very important role in protein synthesis. Protein synthesis occurs by translation, which we'll study in class 12. And next is anion cation balance. Now anion cation balance में the plant has to maintain a very definite concentration of nutrients. जैसे the osmotic balance जो है, plant has to maintain it. If the osmotic balance is not properly balanced, तो ये होगा कि either there would be some sort of plasmolysis, there would be either plasmolysis or there would be loss of water, like let's say exoosmosis, there might be endoosmosis. So in some reasons say it is very important that the anion cation balance of the plant cell is maintained. और ये भी important है because as you can see anion cation balance की वजह से ही a lot of phenomena are taking place such as opening and closing of stomata or the opening and closing of the guard cells here. Next we talk about magnesium. Magnesium now. Okay, here it is. Magnesium, it is the commonly found form is Mg2 plus. Okay, Mg2 plus, which is again a divalent cation. Okay, it's again a divalent cation, Mg2 plus, and it is required in growing areas. Required in growing areas of root, shoot, stem and leaves. Okay. It also जैसा हमने पहले डिस्कस करा था कि मैग्नीशियम पेक्टेट, so magnesium has also a role in forming the middle lamella after cell division or during the telophase of the cell division. Okay, forms middle lamella. इसके अलावा there's another role, that is it forms a component of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll का जो pyrrole head होता है, उस head में magnesium forms the central element. Okay. And the third point is it helps in the binding of the two subunits of ribosome. जो ribosome होता है, it has two subunits. Let's say it has a one larger subunit, that is 60S and 40S. The larger subunit is 60S and 40 subunit is the smaller subunit. This I'm talking of eukaryotes. Eukaryotes में ऐसा होता है. जो prokaryotes होते हैं, prokaryotes में it is 50S and it is 50S and 30S. And okay, so magnesium ion जो होता है, it helps in binding of both the subunits together. और binding is helpful when protein formation occurs or protein let's say translation occurs. Translation जो process I am telling about, translation is the process when proteins are formed. Okay, there's a chain of sequence, that is DNA जो है, that often gives us the RNA. और ये जो RNA के पास जो information है, this will give us proteins. This is known as the central dogma of molecular biology. Okay. इस symbol का मतलब है DNA can self-replicate. So yes, where were we? तो हम बात कर रहे थे about the ribosomal subunits. So it does binding of the two subunits of ribosome. Okay, so these are the roles of magnesium. Now we will talk about sulfur. we'll talk about sulfur. Sulfur किस फॉर्म में absorb होता है? Sulfur is absorbed in the form of sulfate ion. Okay, sulfate ion is SO4 2 minus. Okay, my 2 is not very good looking. Okay. Sulfate ion, yes, okay. Sulfate ion is this, so it is required by young leaves and meristem. Okay, it is required by young leaves and meristem. हो गया. Then sulfur जो है, it is also required in forming of two very important amino acid. दो बहुत important amino acid है sulfur containing, जिसे आपको हमेशा याद रखना चाहिए. That is methionine and cysteine. तो formation of methionine and cysteine, and these are amino acids. Okay, now the third point is they're very useful in making of secondary substances like acetyl coenzyme A. Acetyl coenzyme A. उसके अलावा there are acetyl coenzyme A जो है आप next chapter में पढ़ोगे. It has a very important role in a cycle that is known as CAC cycle, or it is also known as TCA cycle, or it is also known as Krebs cycle. Quite complicated names, but yes, it's one of the most beautiful cycles in biology. Krebs cycle. Okay. तो Krebs cycle में there is a role of acetyl coenzyme A. So production of acetyl coenzyme A plus there is production of biotin and thymine. Biotin is also known as, let me write it down somewhere here. Biotin is also known as vitamin H. Okay, vitamin H इसलिए कहते हैं interestingly because biotin is responsible for growth of hair, so इसलिए इसे vitamin H कहते हैं. And even thiamine is another vitamin. Plus there is there's formation of ferredoxin. Okay, now ferredoxin जो है, ferredoxin is an important element in ETS. ETS है electron transport chain, and ferredoxin is also sulfur containing, so इसके production में चाहिए. So let us first discuss again about these three things. Okay, so we were discussing sulfur. Here it is sulfur. Okay, we start with potassium. Potassium जो है that is very important to maintain ion the anic cationic balance जो सेल में है, सेल और उसके एनवायरनमेंट में है, और या प्लांट और उसके एनवायरनमेंट में है, ताकि there is maintenance of a proper osmotic balance, or there is neither an unwanted endoosmosis or exoosmosis but a controlled one, जिससे कि plant can control the inflow and the outflow of fluid. Okay, तो potassium being जो potassium है, it is taken in the form of K plus ion, that is a monovalent cation. It is required in buds. Buds जो होते हैं, जो growing undeveloped shoots होते हैं, उन्हें buds कहते हैं. जो buds होते हैं वो future में जाके they get converted into let's say a flowering branch or a normal fruiting branch, तो ये होते हैं buds. Now leaves and root tips. Root tips they're very finely growing, और root tips जो होते हैं that are responsible for water absorption. तो जब water absorption उनका role है, they do have to maintain a very accurate balance of anion and cation inside their cells. Next is protein synthesis. Protein synthesis is very important for growing parts of the plant and the general plant body as such. Next there is anion cation balance, which is important in the opening and the closing of stomata. Next we move to magnesium. Magnesium is absorbed. इसे absorb करा जाता है in the form of magnesium ion, that is Mg2+. Mg2+ is again a divalent cation. Okay, divalent क्योंकि यहाँ पे 2+ है, cation because it is positively charged ion. So magnesium जो है it is required in growing areas of root, shoot, stem and leaves. So सारी growing parts जो होते हैं, newly forming parts होते हैं, उसमें you require a lot of magnesium. Magnesium का जो role होता है that is also in middle lamella. Middle lamella हमने previously discuss करा था. Middle lamella is the newly forming separation or compartmentalization between two daughter cells. Usually animal cells में जो होता है, animal cells में after cells has let's say gained a lot of size, so उसके बाद the cell will start pinching off, मतलब cell में furrow form होगा like this. So animal cell में every time the cell division is from outside to inside, while जबकि plant cell है, plant cell में opposite होता है, it's always from inside to outside. Okay. Now we will talk about it is also component of chlorophyll. Chlorophyll जैसे ही हमें पता है, chlorophyll is very important. Chlorophyll अगर ना हो तो photosynthesis possible नहीं है plant में. So जो magnesium is very important in chlorophyll, important component of chlorophyll. Therefore, it is important for photosynthesis. Magnesium it helps in binding of the two subunits of the ribosomes, जिसके वजह से protein synthesis possible होती है. Okay. Next we move to sulfur. Sulfur जो है वो absorb होता है in the form of SO4 2-, that is sulfate ion. It is required by young leaves and meristem. Again यहाँ पे young parts में sulfur की जरूरत है. Plus it is leads to formation of methionine and cysteine. Methionine and cysteine जो है they are sulfur rich or sulfur having amino acids. तो उनका रोल जो होता है that is very special role, क्योंकि उनके bonds जो होते हैं वो different kind of bond होते हैं. That kind of bonds are known as disulfide bonds, जो sulfur cysteine methionine form करते हैं एक दूसरे के साथ. Usually this is known as disulfide bond. Okay. Now उसमें like sulfur has also role in production of acetyl coenzyme में biotin, thymine and ferredoxin. Acetyl coenzyme A has role in Krebs cycle. Biotin and thymine are vitamins. These are vitamins. And ferredoxin जो है वो है इलेक्ट्रॉन ट्रांसपोर्ट चेन में एक इम्पॉर्टेंट प्रोटीन है ferredoxin.